Ladies and gentlemen, this is Randy Hills talking Memphis Wrestling. This program today is dedicated to a unsung hero of Memphis Wrestling and TV5 Wrestling, former Christian Brothers High School baseball coach and legend, former semi-pro and some professional baseball player, the legendary coach Bob Crone. Bob Crone, a longtime employee of WMC TV in Memphis, Tennessee, the home of professional wrestling in Memphis from 1977, and a visible part of the show, Always Quiet. The bald-headed man, Coach Bob Crone. Bob was just a sweetheart of a gentleman, and he was a maker of men. He was a maker of young ball players, and he contributed in ways to Memphis wrestling that you can't imagine. As we got that series going in 1977, we couldn't have done it without Coach Bob Crone. Bob passed away at age 92, and again, our show tonight is dedicated to the memory of Coach Bob Crane.
You'll see America's favorite sport on WHBQ television.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hill and special guests.
Well, WrestleMania is over. It was a late Saturday night, a late Sunday night as we came rocking and rolling and live as live can be. And we were live to review WrestleMania, and we had great conversation. And I want to thank Pat, and I want to thank Michael St. John. I want to thank certainly BC Collins, everybody, and the audience as well. Hope everybody's doing well. We're back to our roots today as we are going to have some cards you will be interested in, some pictures you'll be interested in, and a lot of video you'll be interested in as we will get back to our roots and talk Memphis wrestling today. Looking forward to it. And we will have video from the year 1991, and I hope we can get through it all tonight. We have about 8 videos. If not, we'll split it up with next week. Now, Lucian says WrestleMania 41 was awesome. Mike says hello, everyone. BC says hello to everyone. Everybody is in the house. Our regulars are here, including Rusty Robinson and Thomas and Greg. Everybody's in the house for what I think will be a very, very exciting and good talking Memphis wrestling. It is time to bring in right now a man that's a senior member of this panel. He was the first, I guess I would say I was the first person did it solo, but the first time I had a tag team partner, I'm going to hot tag him, Calvin Lindsay Jr. I am good. I am tagging in Pat Dremel. I'm tagging him hard.
Hot tag.
with his first take today. Hey, Patrick.
Hello, hot tag. Got mixed emotion. Got mixed reviews on the main event, WrestleMania. Dutch Mantel was underwhelmed. I tried to get him on to plead his case, but he said not without money. And I said, we got no money for you here, Dutch.
No, if you would have booked him, I would have been hot.
I wasn't gonna book him. We were just arguing about it. So anyway, I'm not the booker. I'm not the booker.
And let's. I think we've told our story with WrestleMania. What's going on? What else is going on? I think the people sick of hearing about WrestleMania.
Probably so. Well, we're waiting for me to get in trouble when Suzanne comes home because I got the dogs here in my studio, but it's a new carpet, and so she doesn't like that. So if you see a frying pan coming right here, you'll know what happened.
Hey, did you see my or listen to my opening?
I did, I did, and I didn't obviously didn't know Coach Crone, and actually didn't know about him until now. But I know there are a lot of people, some that I've heard of, like Mr. Coffee and others that were really really the heart of what happened every Saturday. And
If you say so.
rest his soul, huh?
If you say so, William Robinson, and Adam knows what I mean by that. William Robinson says, by the way, Coach Crone also taught advanced calculus at Christian Brothers High School, and it was actually more sophisticated than first year college calculus. Pat, you would have liked Coach Bob. He was just a fantastic guy.
Well, I'm sorry I never met him, but I'm thankful for all he did for Memphis wrestling.
All right, a lot of people was on that bandwagon, and the people at the TV station. You know, we talk about the wrestlers, and we talk about the announcers, and we talk about the bookers, and we talk about the managers, and we talk about the referees, all that stuff. And Adam says that Bob Crone was on. A part of, and we probably showed that. I know we've showed the Bill and Buddy show on this show, and Bob Crone did some kind of on-air deal on that to dress them down. So Bob Crone was on Memphis TV, and more than likely, Pat, you saw it.
Well, I know I'm responding to Adam and you on that. I'm sorry. Now I'll know next time I see it, and I may look it up after this. As you know, the Bill and Buddy show was one of my favorite segments.
Still, I'm having problems. Get us another first take, and Pat, and just talk till I come back. We're having
What?
issues with Michael. I got to fix that.
All right. Well, I am curious from our friends here, those that watch WrestleMania. Thumbs up or thumbs down on the main event. Please let us know over here on the side if you did watch it and you have a strong opinion about it, because I thought it was an interesting match. Um,
I'm sorry, people. Pat's made a liar out of me after in my opening before anybody in. I promised everybody we wouldn't talk modern wrestling. Sorry about that.
well, I was up late enough for it, so anyway, that I will say this: whatever you think about it, they put 61,000 people in the house two times, and those tickets were not $5 ringside at the as the Mid South. So um, that's very much a spectacle for sure. Tom's thumbs down from Dr. Rusty. I wasn't a big fan either. Uh, Got to get a thumbs up here, somebody. Greg,
Oh, I'm
you're down.
thumbs up.
All right.
I mean, absolutely. I hate it so many people don't understand the wrestling business. That's a shame. It really is. It's a shame.
All right. I was looking. I was looking for more heat in the match. I felt like they didn't. I felt like Cena, and gosh, guys, what? How old is John Cena?
40,
47,
47, 48, something like
47, 48. Um, BC thought it was a fine match. Didn't care for the finish. They just wasn't a lot of. I just never got on the edge of my seat with it.
All right, we are having trouble getting Michael on here, and so I am messing with that. I think what we'll do is last week, do you remember that we were talking about last Tuesday night? We were talking about the death of Wink Martindale. Do you remember us talking about that?
I do remember that.
We covered uh, we covered that last Tuesday, and we want to start in just a few minutes. But our fearless star is here right now. I messed him up by
There he
not
is.
putting the link, and Michael St. John is on. Michael, you missed our opening segment as we did dedicated this show to the memory of Coach Bob Crone, the longtime floor director of TV5, and we have more video to cover that in just a minute. But your memories of Coach Bob Crone?
Boy, I'll tell you, he made it so easy. It was like riding a bicycle or rocking in a rocking chair. I mean, all you had to do was watch Bob. You knew exactly where you were. He was I've had four directors who worked in TV before on sporting events, wrestling as well. There was a guy in Dallas with ESPN that was part of the package down there that wasn't half as good as Bob, not half as good. So, I hated to hear that, but just a great guy. And he never got in the way. Did you ever notice that, Randy? He never got in the way.
He was a professional. Everybody saying hello to you. Adam has found a video, the Bill and Buddy show, and Pat, you said you'd give anything to see it. I have a kick-ass producer that answered your plea, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is Coach Bob Crone as a part of the Bill and Buddy show.
This is Buddy Landell and Bill Superstar Dundee. And we fired Lance Russell and Dave Brown. You're out of here, baby. Look at your sheet, Budrow. What's next? We got a little thing here. What does it say now, Budrow?
It says the Lawler video spot.
The Lawler. Oh, no. We ain't doing that. That's out. That's out. We ain't just scribble that out, Budrow. We ain't doing that. That ain't being done. Okay. Now we got a match coming on up here because we ain't doing no spot for Jerry Lawler. I'll tell you.
Says it on the format that we got to run it. We got to run it. We have to.
Well. Okay, folks, in TV
That's
land,
Coach Bob Crone.
All right.
You got to go to the little boys, little girls' room. Or you just got to take
We
it out.
got
This
to
is the
run
perfect
it.
thing
That's
to do.
what they
Because the
said
guy
as we
upstairs
come
going to
out
run
of
it anyway.
that.
So
Back to
go
Michael
ahead.
St. John. Hey, Pat didn't listen to my things. I don't want to. We did it 2 nights in a row. This is about Memphis wrestling. We're back to the heart, and so this program, and I want to concentrate on that today. And again, I want to continue as you. That's probably the first time you saw Bob in a long time, as we saw him in that video.
And what a brief appearance. I mean, and you know that in his heart of hearts, he didn't want to do that. I mean, he was not an on-camera guy, but it was part of the skit, the bit. But he had a great guy. My love to his family. And, you can't say enough. There's people that are professional in our industry that have I have a great reverence and a amount I just respect them, great amount of respect. And then there's that next tier where they're a little bit above better, a little bit above best. And that's how Bob was. And like I said, I've worked with directors on football games. I've worked with directors on baseball. I've worked with the directors on wrestling. And in fact, with the network, even with ESPN and with Sports South back, nobody close. Nobody close. Great guy.
Dr. William Robinson says Coach Crone was my baseball coach.
Wow.
And he was honest enough to tell me I should go to a Division III school rather than a Division I school because I wasn't that talented. Classic.
Obviously, a
So,
good coach as well as a good director.
absolutely. I mean, Christian Brothers High School won a lot of championship, that sort of thing, and I'm sure he influenced one of our favorite guys, Dr. Rusty Robinson, who has a Blues Doctor podcast that will be up at midnight tonight. If that's the thing that Rusty and I have in common. We remember certainly fond memories, absolute fond memories there. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about, and when we figured out you were on, I had just asked Pat, and he answered. I know he's half senile, but he did remember this. Do you remember us, Michael, talking about the death last week of Wink Martindale on
Yeah,
this
that was
program?
breaking news at the time we were on the air. And yes, Wink Martindale, a Memphis legend, both in radio, television, and then of course went to Los Angeles and a great game show host.
Wink passed away at age 91. Thanks to Shane Russell, who sent me a video. This was posted by Shane's brother, Rusty, and on the Lance Russell Facebook page. And this is Rusty talking about the situation of the relationship between Lance and Wink Martindale. So we're going to watch this courtesy of the Lance Russell Facebook page right now.
Hello, everybody. William Lance Russell back again, a little earlier than expected this time. On behalf of Lance, I wanted to take a moment to note with some sadness the passing of one of Lance's good friends, Wink Martindale. Wink died this past Tuesday, as of this recording, April the 15th, 2025. He was 91 years old, and I think most of you probably know that Wink is a television legend, known most notably for most of you probably as a game show host and producer. But before getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Wink Martindale worked in Memphis, Tennessee for WHBQ radio and television, as did Lance. They were there at the same time, not as big a coincidence as you might think, because Wink Martindale was born in Jackson, Tennessee. Those of you who have seen our series, The Road to Jackson, about a trip to a wrestling reunion in Jackson, Tennessee, that Lance and I took, know full well Lance's family history and his fondness for Jackson. After they were married, Lance and Audrey settled down in Jackson. That's where Lance got his first professional job in the radio business and later in television. But more importantly for this video, Jackson, Tennessee is where Lance Russell met Wink Martindale, and though the two didn't know it at the time, Wink Martindale would play a crucial role in the career of Lance Russell. Once, when Lance and I were sitting around a table on a patio in his home in Florida enjoying some of that nice Florida weather, I asked him how he and Wink came to know each other, and for some reason I decided to record his answer. And this is what he said.
After I got the job at the station, the 250 water, and I left that station and went over to the Jackson Sun station. That was the only newspaper in town, and they also owned a radio station, WTJS. And I went over there and worked there for a year or I don't really know how long I worked at any of these places. Following that, I got an offer from WDXI, which had to do with doing a sports show on television.
Oh, okay. So that's how you got into TV.
That's how I got into TV.
Cool.
Yeah.
You met Wink Martindale at that station?
Well, no. When I first met Wink, he was a high school guy who was quarterback on the football team, and I was broadcasting sports at the time. In Jackson, yeah, right there. And so that's how I got to meet Wink, and we became friends, and then later worked together after he graduated and came back to Jackson, and then he went over to Memphis, and from his connections in Memphis, that's how I got over to Memphis. He told me about the station where he had a show TV show, he was a Mars captain.
Hey, Bo.
Mars Patrol.
Mars Patrol was the name of the show. Right? And anyhow, he said the program director was looking for a guy to do introductions to the late night movie thing. Sunday nights you dressed in a tuxedo, and then during the week they had the late show, and that was just an introduction and doing commercials and that sort of thing. And so that just tickled me to death. Boy, I got the chance to do big time TV in Memphis, Tennessee.
They're flying an airplane with a banner.
Oh, isn't that cute? Hi, Lance.
It's funny how life connects the dots sometimes. Lance lands his dream job announcing football games on the radio. He becomes friends with the quarterback of one of the local high school teams, and they end up working together in Jackson in the radio business. The quarterback moves to Memphis a couple of years later, and then he convinces Lance to move to Memphis and try his hand at television. Wink left WHBQ in 1959 to take a job as a disc jockey in Los Angeles, setting the stage for his rise to television stardom. And though he will be remembered to most people as the quintessential television game show host in the Lance Russell household, Wink Martindale will always be remembered as Dad's friend from Jackson who helped him get a job in Memphis. Thank you, Wink, for all you did, not just for the Russell family, but for all of television. You will be missed. Well, one other thing before we go, I found this flyer from WHBQ Radio. I guess the radio station would put out a list each week of the top songs from the previous week. And look up here at the top. It's a picture of the man himself, Wink Martindale, former high school quarterback turned rock and roll DJ. And look over here, his friend, the soon-to-be legendary wrestling announcer, Lance Russell. Well done, gentlemen. Rest in peace.
We'll start with you, Pat, first.
That's really I'll tell you what, he does a great job of those things, and that's a lot of stuff I didn't know.
Yeah, very interesting, very interesting. Your thoughts as it's just so interesting. Anytime we can get Lance Russell on this show, on a video we haven't had on this show before, it's thrilling how professional he is. It's just amazing, Michael.
I couldn't agree more, and that was very entertaining. I hadn't heard the story. I did know that Lance and Wink knew each other from my time working with Lance, because we'd have some time in the back before the show would go on, and we'd be sitting around jaw-jacking about radio or television or the world today or whatever the case may be. And Lance told me the story of how he got in radio, because he wanted to know how I got in radio. So we shared stories, and I knew the Jackson story, and I knew the Wink Martindale connection. I did not know he left out the fact that Wink gave him the heads up that, hey, we got an opening here at Channel 13. I want you to apply for this job, kind of thing. But that's just Lance being the humble person he was. And great talent. Wink Martindale, great talent. Lance Russell. Lance never made it to Los Angeles for television, but by God, he had the charisma and the talent and the ability to do so. He just elected to stay home. One quick other thing too. Memphis was a great little radio pod, we used to call it, because it used to get really good talent from feeder cities around it. And that's how radio sort of was in the 60s and 70s and in the early 80s a little bit, but the smaller towns fed the big city. So Tupelo, Jackson, Jonesboro, even Jackson, Mississippi, and Little Rock, for that matter, would feed radio and TV talent into the big city, into Memphis. And as a result, you had some extremely talented people that not only did well in Memphis, but went on to the big markets of New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, etc. And Jay Cook was a great example. WHBQ DJ, program director, became a legendary program director at WFIL, famous 56 in Philadelphia. He went from 560 AM in Memphis to 560 AM in Philadelphia, and was extremely great programmer. So anyway, it's great to fall back on things like that in a great story and a great package.
started the show off hot with some good stuff, and now we're going to two feature cards we're going to talk about today. Adam, we're going to go with 38-33. Folks, this is going back to the way back machine. This is from the Memphis Commercial Appeal and the Memphis Press Scimitar, this television ad, and it was for the Mid-South Coliseum on April the 17th, 1972. Just listen to this card. The opening match of the night was a couple of Australian people, and it was Ron Miller and Larry O'Day. Once they got back to Australia, that team, they saw Bill Dundee and George Barnes in Australia wrestling on one of the cards, and say, hey, mate, you should go to Memphis. So we just couldn't stay long, had to be back here, but you can get over in the United States and make a lot of money. So Ron Miller and Larry O'Day in that opening match against Jack Donovan and Frank Martinez, without them being on that card, maybe Bill Dundee would have never been in Memphis, Tennessee. It's crazy how the world is, and we're just going to take our time on this. Is this before your time? Did Ron Miller and Larry O'Day ever come to Birmingham? You're into the territory. What can you tell me?
Go ahead, Michael.
Well, no, I was waiting on your response, Pat. When I was growing up and watching Channel 42 Wrestling, I remember all the people on this card, and actually got a chance to work with Jack Donovan. Didn't Frankie Martinez, wasn't he killed in an accident or a shooting or something?
I'd be lying if I told you. Maybe Bo James knows.
Oh, might know that name, and that there was, I think, some problems with that situation. Pat, I know you watched Channel 42 back in the day with Sterling Brewer, but we'd see all those boys on that card on Channel 42.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
The second match on the card was Lynn Rossi and Bearcat Brown, Tojo Yamamoto, and Tommy Gilbert in an 8-man tag match. Rossi, Bearcat, Tojo, Gilbert against the Samoans, and Jack and Jim Dalton. We'll start with you, Pat.
Well, that's a Birmingham card right there. That's right down the middle. I've probably seen that. I probably saw that the next Monday night for sure.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, the Samoans, that wasn't the Wild Samoans. That was
Tio and Tapu.
Okay, yeah. Boy, legendary names on that, Pat. My gosh.
You really are, yeah.
The third match is one of the earlier, maybe the third week of the Jerry Lawler, Jim White tag team. Jerry Lawler, Jim White with Sam Bass against Eddie Marlin and a very young Kevin Sullivan.
I remember Kevin Sullivan coming in, the Boston Strong Boy, and it was around 1972. And I mean, he was as green as a gourd. He had his submission hole was the Boston Crab, and he was from Boston, so.
He also had that Boston brogue, he was hard to understand. Jimmy Kent actually was the manager of Jerry and Jim for this match. And Randy, I think this is just prior to Sam Bass joining up.
Now, yeah, Adam had pointed that up too. So the Montgomery, Alabama territory is when the promoters there, Jimmy Golden's dad, put Lawler and White together, and manager Sam Bass. They got over, and so they called Nick Goulas, and Nick said, well, we don't need the man. We'll take the whole package. And Sam Bass was the manager here too, but Jerry Jarrett didn't think it clicked, and so it was Jerry Jarrett's idea and probably Jerry Lawler's to go with Sam, and that's an interesting part of history there.
Indeed, and you mentioned Montgomery, and it was interesting. I had talked to Jimmy Golden at a event. I guess it may have been at the Birmingham Auditorium 10 years ago, 12 years ago, with Linda Marks. And we're talking about his dad and promoting. And I never knew until Jimmy told me that his dad, even though he booked with Nick, he also used some talent out of Atlanta and some talent from the Fields boys in Mobile. So it was sort of a hodgepodge of 3 different territories. Montgomery was sort of a hodgepodge of that. And I also didn't realize that they took turns running Tuscaloosa once a month. Bill Golden would run it one month, and then Nick would run it the next month. And I don't know how they did that, but they did a hodgepodge of the talent. And Montgomery, I think if there are any people that grew up on Montgomery wrestling, I'd love to hear about what TVs they got and so forth and so on, because that was certainly a unique situation.
I would too.
Go ahead, Michael, and read Bo's, because you're the one that asked the question about Frank Martinez. Go ahead and read. I knew Bo would know, so go ahead and read.
Bo's great. And Bo, I need to give you a call. I'm looking for tickets to a baseball game, by the way. I'll give you a call this week. Frankie Martinez, one of the Blue Infernos, okay, with Gypsy Joe. He was also the Dr. Death's, wrestled for 30 years, died 15 years ago of old age. So I don't know who I've got him. Is it Frankie Hester? Maybe I've got him confused with. That
was one of the Dominoes that died in Sam Bass's.
I may have those two confused. Sorry
car wreck and that sort of thing. And the main event of the night, as we go back to that graphic of the Memphis card from 1972, the main event was Southern Tag Team Champions, the Interns, against Fabulous Jackie Fargo and Jerry Jarrett. It was titles against Fargo and Jarrett's hair, so you know who won that match and who became the Southern Tag Team Champion. Interns drew a lot of money, not only in Memphis and this whole end of the territory, but in your end as well. And Dr. Ken Ramey was evil.
Dr. Ken Ramey was the best heel manager ever. I mean, that guy, he was just that slick back hair, pompadour. Oh, man, I hated that guy.
He could talk a promo, too. I mean, of all the managers we always talk about, we sometimes leave the fact out if he was so good at it. He did more to piss off people in Birmingham and when they painted Bearcat brown than anybody on the face of the earth. I mean, he changed. He may or may not realize it, but he changed the face of integration in the state of Alabama just by that happening and him being attached to it.
Absolutely.
In 1977 was the split with Nick Goulas, Roy Welch, and Jerry Jarrett. And Nick got the Birmingham in, the Nashville in those towns, Chattanooga, and Jerry Jarrett got Memphis and Louisville and Evansville. He'd eventually open up Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky, the big basketball arena where the University of Kentucky Wildcats still plays their games. They would run once a month on a Thursday night at the massive, it was the biggest building in the territory, and they even cut some of it off. It was at Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky. Graphic number 3837, graphic 3837. This was the 5-year anniversary of Jarrett Wrestling in Louisville, Kentucky. It was April the 17th, 1983, and I'm thinking Adam is having trouble finding it, so I'll go ahead and put it up there right now and read the card. The simple card in 72 compared to this card in 83, we saw 4 matches in Memphis and a great night of wrestling. This night on April the 17th, 1983, the 5th year anniversary of wrestling in Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky. The opening match, Sonny King against Jim Dalton. Second match was Steve O and Bobby Fulton, Future Fantastics, against the former Nightmares. It was Ken Wing, Danny Davis, the Galaxians. Then the third match of the night, and Jim Cornette was probably managing the Galaxians that night. The third match of the night was Cousin Carl Fergie against Big Mean Duke Myers. Plowboy Frazier against Dutch Mantell. The Bruise Brothers, the fifth match of the night, against the team of the Rock and Roll Express, Rick Morton and Robert Gibson. The sixth match of the card was the Mid America Heavyweight Championship. Stagger Lee, of course, Coco Ware, against his former tag team partner, beautiful Bobby Eaton, with Jimmy Hart. The Southern title was on the line. This is the beginning of building these 83 heel turn. Southern title at stake. Terry Taylor defending against superstar Bill Dundee. The eighth match of the card, and what a card this is, and it gets better. The eighth match was Southern Tag Titles, the Moondogs against the fabulous ones, Stan Lane, Steve Kern. The ninth match of the night for the AWA World Heavyweight Championship, Nick Bockwinkel defending against Jerry the King Lawler. The main event was a 24-man battle royal. The winner gets a 1983 Lincoln Town Car. That is Lexington, Kentucky on April the 7th of the year 1983. Pat, does it just blow your mind seeing the differences between those two cards and also the spectacular event in Lexington, Kentucky?
Well, I didn't even recognize. I was looking at the card. I didn't recognize the Battle Royal, but there were 9 matches plus the Battle Royal on there.
Right.
That's a lot of. But I was going to ask you, the ring sides were 5. I think. I don't know if it was front row or whatever. Ringside 6, general admission 5. Is that an upcharged card?
Yes,
pricing?
I would say it absolutely was. Do you agree, Michael?
In 83, yes, sir, it was. I have a question. Do you know what this drew?
No,
Do you have any money
no
figures on it?
idea. I was still in college. I hadn't been to Lexington at that point. No idea. It had to be good.
Well, Jerry Jarrett used to say that Lexington, when he ran it, was big. That they drew big because, and he drew a lot of folks from Eastern Kentucky that would drive over 100 miles just to come to the matches in Lexington. I remember him saying that. So the reach on Lexington was, I would think, greater than most of the other towns that he was running at the time.
Unbelievable.
Thomas, ringside was 6, general admission 5.
There's a comment we have that Lance Russell live in Lexington in August of 83. I would love to see what the comment, how big was the crowd, Lucian, in Lexington at that time? Because again, I'd always heard that they ran it once a month, and then the crowds were big in Lexington.
Well, if you put that, if you're going to pay that roster, you better draw some people.
I want to know who won the car.
I bet Jerry Lawler. I bet Jerry Lawler because
he lost the match and won the car.
A lot of the guys back then were, including Eddie Marlin, including Dundee, including Lawler, later on, including me, including Jeff Jarrett. Many people in that time period had those Lincoln Town cars. Do you remember that, Michael? Did you have one?
I had them too. I had them for 10 years and loved it. It's like driving a yacht. But the great thing about them, and you remember, if you're on the road at all, a lot, the Lincoln Town car was comfort. I mean, that was a great ride. It was big. I mean, but it was a land yacht. When I drive my Arcadia now, I think about those days. For some reason, it feels like my Arcadia is like half the size of that Continental.
Have those bitch seats in it.
Oh, yeah.
Velour bitch seats.
Those big seats. Those back seats came in handy every now and then, too, but I won't go into that.
Okay.
By the way, Lucian said it was packed, so the night he's talking about. So
it had to be.
Had to be. I was at Rupp, in fact, last Tuesday, of all things, I was at Rupp Arena. One of our guys was sleepy and wanted to take a nap. The other one said, I want to see Lexington. So Chuck Ellis, my state trooper friend, and I did a little tour around there and went to the bookstore at UK. And then cut back to downtown Lexington, they have really done a great job around the rep. It was always tough to park, but now, I mean, there's a lot of parking down there, and that's a great. And Rupp, I know, Randy, you've been there. It goes down. That's what I always loved about that arena.
Oh yeah,
you could sit in row number 50, and you felt like you were looking right at the ring.
Were you ever there for wrestling, Michael?
One time. And believe it or not, it wasn't with Jerry. It was with Randy and Angelo Poffo. They ran it one time, and I want to say, let me do my calculating here. I want to say in 81, maybe.
How did it go?
About half. They didn't open up the upper bowl of it, so it was just the lower bowl and about half full of the lower bowl. But they had several. That was the only time I ever got to work a card with Dick the Bruiser, and Dick was, I guess came down from Indianapolis or whatever. And all I remember is he smelled like a brewery when I got there, and after the match, he smelled like a bottle of bourbon.
That's cool. Bo James says Lexington TV, and if I remember, we were on Channel 18 there. Eventually, probably at that time, we were at Channel 18 there in Lexington, Kentucky. It reaches all the way down to almost the Tennessee state line on Interstate 75, reaches Ashland, Kentucky to east, and almost to Cincinnati to the north. Thank you very much, Bo.
And that's a big television. That's a big television footprint when you think about it. That's called the DMA. The area of dominant market affluence, and that's a big market. So yeah, I guess people did drive 100 miles to see the matches.
Lucian is saying the Rupp Arena is now inside the Central
Bank
Center,
which used to be the Lexington Center.
The Lexington Center.
They did some remodeling and all there too.
So Pat, have you ever been to Lexington?
I have gone through there one time. That's one of two legacy SEC stadiums I've not been to.
That's pretty cool.
By the way, the University of Kentucky Commonwealth Stadium is one of my favorite in the SEC. And you get tickets easy, but the hard part is to get that parking pass. The parking pass, last time I was up there with Chuck 2 years ago when Alabama played, we paid $50 for our tickets, paid $75 for parking. So,
my God, that is unbelievable. Lucian lives in Lexington, Kentucky as we speak.
Hey, Lucian, try Tony's. It's a great restaurant. I was there last Tuesday night. Tony's, unbelievable.
All right. We're going to go to the picture segment of the day, and we're going to start with a interesting one, and I'll be interesting from the perspective of Pat and Michael. Certainly, I remember these guys and what they were and what they became later on, especially the younger one. Graphic number 3824. Graphic 3824. And I can certainly, if Adam, you can't find it, I can find it right now. Graphic number 3824, and we'll go ahead and push it there. This, folks, what a tandem. Terrence Garvin later on became a big deal in the WWF and with Vince McMahon Jr., or the current Vince McMahon. That's Ron Garvin, and of course Jimmy Garvin, that later became gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, the Garvin people. Michael, we'll start with you now, and let me put that picture up there. These guys look like stars. And
they were.
Jimmy Garvin looks like a little boy.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, they were big stars. And we very rarely even brought up the Garvins in our territory, but I think every time they came in, Jimmy and Ron would draw money. I remember Nick working when Ronnie Garvin came into town. We had Ken Lucas right around that same time. And Ronnie Garvin came into town, and young, I remember that picture. I remember showing that picture on TV. And Nick, for some reason, I remember a rub between Ken Lucas and Garvin while they were working for Nick. And I think they were both sort of stooging off to Nick on either, one would tell Nick something and one would tell him that. So anyway, Nick was a little conflicted, and we ended up he let them both go. I don't know why, but they ended up both leaving. Probably money.
For sure.
Hey, Ahmad.
None of those guys as far. Adam was asking, Beauty and the Beast was here. One of them was called Terrence Garvin, but it was just Terry Sims, a local guy that Bill trained, and his partner Mark Gouline. That was Beauty and the Beast back in the time. The next picture after that one, and Pat, I'm going to have you discuss them as soon as we put them up on the screen. 3825 is our next one. And Pat, take it away.
Who do you have there? Is that the Greens?
Yes, sir.
All right. Two of the biggest heel tag team in Birmingham, probably. I saw, interestingly enough, and I was going to ask you, I was looking around. I've been asked to write an article for David Scher's Comeback Town about Bearcat and Lynn Rossi, and I was doing some research online, and I ran into a clip of a babyface, Don Green, getting beaten by Billy Spears for the Junior Heavyweight Championship in his interview after the match with Sterling Brewer. And apparently Billy Spears had used some sort, it was the angle was he had some sort of chemical that made Don kind of lose it a little bit, and he pinned him. So, but these guys were they were over in Birmingham as badass greaseback hair heels for sure.
I wonder if that was the quote unquote ether that classically was used by Ken Ramey. And I never knew until I actually was involved in a match called it. And Randy, you probably know this. It was some kind of tire stuff, the truck driver.
Yes.
Tire that smelled like ether.
Right.
They put it on that rag. They wouldn't put a lot. They put it on that rag, and boy, it would. But the funny thing about it, I remember the time I had to work and was with the table side and doing the commentary on a Wednesday night in Nashville, and they brought that in. I forget who used it, and before the end of the match, I had a headache. I mean, I literally had a headache from that smell. But they use that tire stuff. They buy it at a truck stop and use it.
Adam, the very next picture in order there, and Michael, I'll let you discuss this one. It's 3827, Adam. The one right after this is Michael St. John telling us who the hell this guy is and tell us the inside story of him.
Oh my God. Who is that? Is that it's not Joey Rossi?
No, I asked you about him the other day.
You did?
Thank Chattanooga.
Pat Rose? No.
No, thank the announcer.
Oh, that's Butch Thornton.
Didn't we talk about him the other day?
Yes, we did. I didn't recognize him. I'll be honest with you. Butch Thornton, he was the son of Harry Thornton. And Pat Rose, I hope he's not a friend of yours, because what I'm going to say is not very nice. He wasn't very good working. I could use my slang term, but I won't. I never thought he was very good in the ring.
I heard that too. And Pat, stick around here. You're coming up, Pat Rose. Yeah, just very interesting. Do you remember Butch Thornton, Mr. Trammell?
I don't remember him being in Birmingham. He may have come through for a shot here or there, but he's probably was past my time, and I don't remember him.
We're moving right along.
I don't think he stuck very, very long. I think he was around for a cup of coffee, and that was about it.
Yeah.
3829, the very next picture, Adam Dunn, as we are going to. This is a lot of fun looking at some of these older pictures, and just go ahead and do the next picture, Adam. All right, Pat and Michael both here.
That's Lynn and Joey Rossi.
That's right. Both Lynn
Yep,
and Joey.
yep.
You
I
know,
did. Go ahead, Michael.
no, go ahead. I'm sorry, Pat. I just had something to.
Well, I didn't remember Joey being that big, but I guess he was. But he ended up being just a great guy and a community leader. In was it Hendersonville where they lived?
Actually, they lived in Brentwood,
At Brentwood,
Tennessee.
he was on the city council for a long time
Well,
until he.
Lynn had that. He had the first health food store. I want to say perhaps the first in Nashville. After his car wreck, he opened up that health food store, and he did a whale of a business there. Of course, his name certainly helped him, but he was the first in the position in that health food store business there, and he also offered the food supplements as well. Joey Rossi had the look; he just couldn't work with them out of a paper bag.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna show you something.
Oh, cool.
All right. So, Lynn Rossi, how much were you around him?
Early on, when I first started for Nick, he came around, but he and Nick had some outs. And I want to say, and somebody might correct me on this, but when I first started, there was a rub between Lynn and Joey, and Nick and George, and Jerry and well, it was before Jeff, but Jerry. I mean, there was some kind of three-way rub there that just was not very pleasant. So for whatever reason, I didn't get to work with Lynn, but I got to know Lynn. And the one thing I always remember about Lynn Rossi, he was very critical of the boys doing it the right way. He was very much a perfectionist, if you would. And I remember, and I did get to work some matches with Joey, and I can remember Nick or Lynn just berating those activities. Look at that. You got that from Lynn Rossi's store.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all could see it or not, but I got some supplements when I went by and spent the afternoon with Lynn about a year before he died, and I've never opened them. I've got a B12 here, but I keep them in my bookcase, and I'm not going to open them. But that's very special to me. I had a special afternoon with him.
I recognize the picture of Lynn on that. That was one of the publicity pictures that Nick used to use when Lynn was wrestling. He had another one. Lynn had another one where he had his hands on his hip and had the Southern Junior Heavyweight Championship belt, the one that had the eagle on top of it. But Lynn, I always respected Lynn because he was such a perfectionist. And there were times that I did see him and. He'd come up to me and say something about the play-by-play and give me a couple of pointers, which I always appreciated. There was another Italian wrestler that was in Nashville that had a restaurant called Lorenzo Parenti.
Yeah.
And did Lynn at one time try the restaurant business? I want to say maybe had a pizza parlor. And that may have been when I first got to college there in 69 or 70.
I heard that. I couldn't swear to it, but I think you may be right.
Now, George Goulas and Tojo had a place, right?
Tojo had a place, yeah, and it was out in Donaldson, and it was an Oriental restaurant. Trust me, boys, I will say this firsthand, and Randy, I bet you know this for a fact.
Oh yeah,
Tojo was a hell of a cook.
Yeah,
and I'll never forget. I'd been working for Nick for about 6 months, and he had an off night, and he said, "I come and cook for you and Miss Lisa." Well, that's my ex-wife. So he came to our house in Hendersonville and brought like 2 sacks full of groceries from H.T. Hill's store in Hendersonville. And he cooked, and it was the first time I ever had fried rice made at home. And he cooked fried rice. He made orange chicken. And gosh only knows what else. And it took him about 2 hours, and he took over our kitchen. And I remember my ex being in there just helping him and washing something off or whatever. Yeah, I cook. You relax. I cook. And I still remember that meal. I know there's meals you have in life you remember. Most of them are at restaurants, but mine was at home with Tojo.
Hey, Rashad, what is going on today? As Adam, let's go to the next graphic. Talking Memphis Wrestling, folks, we're getting back to our roots. So, there you go, Michael. Who's this?
Harry Thornton's got his back to you. That's George Goulas and a very young Jerry Jarrett. And this is a tag team match, and I'm sure they were involved in something where they got screwed and they wanted a match, and they're probably groveling to Harry to change the card at the City Auditorium in Chattanooga that night. That actually looks like it was shot at Channel 12. It looks like the backside of that studio.
That's Jerry?
That's Jerry, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next slide. Pat, you get this one.
There we go. Dr. Ken Ramey. Dr. Ken Ramey and the interns. Always wearing the tuxedo with the frilly shirt. Oh, what a greaseball of a heel, man. Just really. I don't know where that is. Those are interesting ropes there.
I'm also looking at the fact that, is that a wig or is that his actual hair? I remember him when he had a crew cut.
Me too. I mean,
I remember a crew cut and then a slick back, a comb back. So I don't know.
man, we're back to our roots on Talking Memphis Wrestling. We're talking Memphis Wrestling and looking at great pictures, and we go to the next picture right here on this. And Michael, I don't want you to say who this is. I want to give it to Pat first.
I don't know who that is.
Michael, your turn.
Yes, I'm looking. Golly, that's from the 60s.
I'll give you a tip.
Is that a young Nick Bockwinkel?
No.
On the left?
These two are 2 out of 3 wrestling cousins. One of the cousins that's not pictured here is Les Thatcher. Who are the other 2?
Wait a minute. Golly, you got me here.
How about Roger Kirby and Dennis Hall?
Wow, I was going to say Dennis, but that's a real young picture of Dennis.
And Dennis on the right?
On the right, yeah.
Yes.
And Roger Kirby, of course, remember him with the long blonde hair. He almost looks like a young Buddy Rogers there.
Yeah.
It really does. Fantastic. More pictures as we go to
now, my understanding is Dennis Hall could really work.
Not only could he work, he trained. He trained several wrestlers. My fondest recollection of Dennis was when he was teaming with Ken Lucas, and he came back in 77 when I started with Nick. They came into Nashville. I guess that was their second or third run into Nashville together, and then they had a beef between them, and then there was a blow off between Dennis and Ken. And I remember calling that match at the Fairgrounds Arena, and that was a hell of a match. I mean, they were both incredible wrestlers.
Next picture, Adam.
Okay, the Mongolian Stomper.
Both old and new.
Boy, did he not look like one evil son of a gun?
He really did.
Now, one of the more recent pictures of his life is the other picture. Would you ever guess that's the Mongolian Stomper, the picture to the right?
No, it looks like somebody's grandfather.
That's funny you said that, Pat, because I was going to say he looks like the grandfather of the guy on the left.
Yeah.
Same guy.
I can
Mongolian Stomper.
I can see some blade marks still on his forehead in both pictures.
Right.
When he was in Georgia in the mid or so 80s, and I think Don Carson was managing him, and he wasn't near as defined as he was there. And you're right, Stuart. He was a fearsome guy.
Next picture, as we look at the guy, and the name is on the bottom of the picture. Folks, for those that didn't know, in 1974, Jerry Lawler and Rick Gibson sold out the Memphis Mid-South Coliseum. Some of them was like 11.7. there was like 7 weeks in a row, over 10,000 people. A lot of them sellouts completely over 11,000. Rick Gibson was a hell of a babyface, a hell of a talent, and he drew money. Certainly, I'm interested to know as we come off that video now and back to us. I'm interested to know, Pat and Michael, if Rick was that over like he was in the Memphis in Birmingham, Chattanooga, and Nashville.
Well, I'll tell you this: in Birmingham, absolutely, he was
Yes,
magic.
he was.
And I'm going to speak for, and I think Bo and there may be some folks that know better than I do, but I think he was over in Chattanooga pretty much. In Nashville, they were over, but I don't think they were as big. Now, what was the connection? And it was about, I remembered in Birmingham about the same time. I spilled my Coke, by the way.
Okay.
That Bob Armstrong and Ricky Gibson were in Birmingham. Pat, you want to help me out here in like 69, 68, right in there, about the same time, and wrestled quite a bit. Wrestled each other, wrestled as a tag team. But boy, both of them, you'd watch Channel 42 wrestling and you'd walk away saying, gosh, those guys are good, because they were both just tremendous athletes.
They really were. And you know, I mean, when Bob Armstrong was older than my age, he was working better than 75% of the people. The young Bob Armstrong was so athletic and so quick and could move so well. It was really, really something to see.
You know, and about that same period, Lawler came into the picture. So you had Lawler, you had Ricky Gibson, you had Bob Armstrong. I don't remember them all being in Nashville on TV, but I remember them being on Channel 42 in Birmingham. And my gosh, what talent.
Yeah. Rusty, I think Robert lives down there now. Gibson.
Last I heard, I don't think Bo will know exactly.
He was in Destin or something. He's got a charter fishing business.
Does he? I hadn't heard that. At one time, he and his wife lived in the Atlanta area, but I think he moved from that a long time ago. And hopefully, Bo can tell us where Hoot is right now. And we'll go to our next picture. He is the pride of Huntsville, Indiana, and Bo confirms what I says. Robert lives just west of Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
I think he lives in Villa Rica, if I'm not mistaken. I say that because of a show that was done, oh my gosh, right before COVID actually. And I think it was down and I was doing it for Linda Marks and it was in Pell City, and he said he was only like 45 minutes away. So
well, that'd be right.
That'd be about Villa Rica.
Yeah.
Next picture, Adam. The pride of Huntsville, Alabama. This is probably 76, 77, a very young, beautiful Bobby Eaton. Pat?
You know, one of the absolute best ones to ever do it. No question about it.
Michael?
I would give a lot of money to see a match between Bobby Eaton and Ricky Morton, because you're looking at two of the best to ever get in the ring and do it. And Bobby was such a nice, gentle bear, kind of genuine guy. And Ricky Morton the same way, just incredible talent, really nice people. But they get in the ring and they show you. I'll tell you, I would love to show a film of a match between those two to every new wrestler that stepped in the ring today.
Absolutely.
They could learn a lot.
Absolutely. Classic heel, classic baby faces, and both of them can do either, but Ricky was better. It was great. One of the best is baby facing, and Bobby, one of the best is healing. Just amazing. The last, attention, Pat Rose, the last picture of the day. This is a oldie and a goodie, and some people might not get half of this, but let's go with that picture right now. And there it goes. It's the thing there. How familiar are you, Pat, with the tag team of Rocky Brewer and Pat Rose, as they had a run there for Nick's End toward the end of Next End. And this is the great, our friend of the show, the great Pat Rose, and Rocky Brewer, who was also, didn't Rocky Brewer and Bobby Eaton, weren't they real close? Weren't they big pals there, Michael?
I think you're right. And Rocky Brewer, by the way, folks, was no kin to Sterling Brewer. Let's make that perfectly clear.
Okay.
I remember calling matches with these guys, and that was an incredible team. I always thought, and in fact, I remember them, I believe, on Channel 17 in Atlanta, working some Georgia Championship wrestling shows. I know Pat did, and I think Rocky did too. But they were a team that I always thought, and I'm going to say something probably controversial, and forgive me, but I always thought that George Goulas was jealous of Pat and Rocky when they came into the territory and started building their fan base and the people. I mean, they were a good-looking tag team. They worked well in the ring together. And I always felt that there may have been a little bit of suppression going on because they were that good. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. And maybe it's me looking back on things from 40 years ago, but I always felt that Rocky and Pat could have gone and would have gone further had they had the latitude to do so.
The amazing thing about that picture is Pat hadn't changed a bit.
Let's put that picture up there again one more
Look
time.
at that.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he has. He's got a fishing. He's got a fishing rod in his hand. He's changed a bit.
Fantastic picture, Pat. As you were with me Saturday and Sunday, Michael with me Sunday, and it was fun talking. Certainly WrestleMania, which I'm not allowing that talk here today. But it was fun talking about it the other day. But man, the heart and soul of this show was designed, and what it's all about is what we're talking about today. Did you like that picture segment we just did?
I love going back through memory lane and remembering, all those memories. I mean, that just, there's something about, and obviously everybody on here and all our friends spend a lot of Tuesday nights sitting here while we talk about wrestling, and we obviously love wrestling, and we'll be watching wrestling in some form or fashion within the next 48 hours, I'm sure, whether it's on YouTube or TV or whatever. But there is nothing, it's like Willie Morris's book, My Dog Skip. There's nothing like being 11 years old and watching a match and Sterling Brewer calling it for me. And it's the same way with y'all in the Jonesboro American Legion. And Michael, with you in Huntsville, there's just nothing like going back and seeing your old heroes.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I'm sure we spent 10,000 words tonight describing those pictures. And I'll be honest, Randy, you pull one out of your hat tonight. Thank you for doing this. I would love to see us do this about once a month. Just go at a throwback.
It's based on if I can find, if sometimes pictures pop up on the many websites I get, sometimes they don't. Yes, William, it was a pleasure to do that. Now, go ahead.
Just real quick, I would love to see, and if you don't mind, let's just any of our wrestling folks that follow us, any of our great followers and fans and friends, I call them friends, that are following us tonight. If you've got any of those old pictures, email them to Randy, because this would be a heck of a segment.
And we'll see if Adam can put my email address up on the screen. It's Randy Benton, my middle name, Randy Benton Hales at gmail.com. So you can email me right there at randybentonhales at gmail.com. Hey!
There's Brittany. Randy wants to know how you do.
Hey.
How's it going?
How's it going?
Doing good.
Good.
All
I
right.
can hear you. I've got you muted on the speakers. I can hear you in the headphones. Bless her heart, she just brought me dinner from Sophia, so I didn't have to get to have dinner tonight. So.
What is it?
What is it? Well, part of it, there's a restaurant here, and there's one in Gunnersville called Sophia's.
Didn't have to clamp.
They didn't have the shrimp. So what did I get? I ordered shrimp. So this is surprise. Let's see what Mike is eating tonight.
The excitement. Roll the drum, Adam. If we have a drum.
That's shrimp. That's shrimp, babe. Okay, this is their fried shrimp with a sauce on it.
Wow.
And it is delicious.
Hey, I like how she's repping your station, Michael, on her shirt.
She loves the station. She's my right hand. I love Brittany.
Radio.
You know, Brittany is Melanie's daughter, and I was lucky enough to inherit her, and so she's my daughter. And you met her, Randy, and Pat, you did too. This is she's one of the sweetest people that you'll ever know. Number one, and number two, she could be mayor of this town because everybody knows her. Not everybody knows me, but everybody knows Brittany.
Thank you for
the house.
And she cleans the house, and I pay her.
I do on Friday.
On Fridays. There you go.
Thank you for bringing him food.
He said, thank you for bringing me food. Love you, babe. See
Bye.
This is my girl right here.
All right.
And all the time Michael get trouble, don't he?
Yeah, she gets me in trouble all the time.
Bye, Brett.
Thank you, Brittany. But getting back to what we were saying, I love the fact that we did this, and thank you, Randy, for doing it. And Pat, I know you got a smile on your face, so I know you must have enjoyed it.
I do. I love this stuff, man.
Hey, we're going to continue the timeline. We won't get through the whole thing because it is 11 minutes after 8. Lance Russell left in 89. We covered 89 and 90. 91, a lot of goofy stuff happened, including Jerry Lawler made the decision to leave the Mid-South Coliseum and go to the Pipkin building, which was on the fairgrounds there in Memphis. This first videotape that will show, and where I always put the video, it's called 10 Minutes of Mayhem, and it's in that era back then. It's in that era where they were wrestling in the Pipkin building. It's 9 minutes and 50 seconds on Talking Memphis.
Fairgrounds. Now here comes Eric Embry. Let's see what his version of it is.
This is the Eric Embry era, Michael.
And you keep your mouth shut, and I dare you to say a word.
There's Michael in the background, Pat.
There you go.
It's real simple. All the glitter and the gold comes off, man. And it's me and you, the lumberjack man. Why, real simple. Jeff Jarrett, Robert Fuller, Superstar Dundee, and Danny Davis. If one of them, and I mean one of them, lay a finger on me, I'll beat your brains out. And if anybody, in other words, you know what I'm saying? I said I had it up to here with you, Lawler. I hate your guts, man. I hate your...
All right. Boy, if he's so big and bad, where'd he go all of a sudden, huh?
Come on, Embry. Come on out here and run your mouth one more stinking time. His mouth is that big, but his legs get real big when somebody gets around and all he does is run. Come on, Embry. Look at this. Come here. Look at this. How long I got to do? Come on, Embry. This will make it real easy for you. Come on out here right now. Where is he? Huh? Just wonder. That's what he is.
BC, I agree with you. That's not a proper statement.
You can talk all you want to about what you're going to do to me Monday night, punk. But I'm telling you this. I've said it before, and I'm saying it right now, and I mean it. Jeff Jarrett, Robert Fuller, Danny Davis, and Superstar Bill Dundee are going to throw you out every time throw you back in every time you try to get out of that ring. And when they do that, punk, that's just going to mean it's going to wind up me and you, and we're going to see just how
the old-time lumberjack match. You
There
remember
you
that?
go. Yes, sir.
He comes back. Come on, him. Oh, Jerry's got a chair. Whoa.
Here we go.
He almost got him. Not quite. He was that close.
The way he's running, I keep wondering if we're going to see him at the Greyhound Park tonight.
Oh, my goodness. Jerry was that close to getting him. Jerry, well, he's obviously not going to come back. He came out with a chair. Lawler in the ring, and he's ready to camp there, waiting for Embry to come back. Oh, here comes Embry with a garbage can and a chair. Oh, my goodness. Lawler throwing the chair at Embry. I'm going to get way back out of the way here. Watch the cameras as all this stuff is flying around here.
Embry grabbing another folding chair, Dave. I tell you, these folding chairs have taken a beating.
Boy, they have. And, you know, Lawler with a folding chair and Embry with a folding chair, it still isn't even. Lawler's got the advantage. Look, here goes Embry climbing in there. Yeah, go ahead. That's a mistake. And Embry throws the chair. Lawler nailed him right in the head with it. He got him right in the head. Embry crawls out of here at top speed. I haven't seen anybody crawl so fast, maybe ever. Embry's gone, and he's out. I don't think he's coming back at all.
Good announcing by Michael and
Boy, did he ever
Dave.
get nailed on the head by that chair thrown by Lawler.
Lawler smacked him right in the top of the head. He is going to be nursing a headache. That's going to give him something to think about. When that match takes place, let me know. All right, here comes Pritchard with him, and one of the barroom brawlers. Oh, look out. And the other barroom, they've got Lawler 4-1. They've got him outnumbered 4-1. This is trouble.
Uh-oh. Lawler being caught now by here comes Hal.
Here comes Jeff with a chair. Here's Robert.
Robert Fuller in, going after Pritchard, going after the barroom brawlers. Whoa! Coming this way. There goes the desk. Whoa!
Dave was ducking in that. So would I.
They're out of here. I didn't think Embry would come back after that last time, but I really don't think he will this time around.
He brought friends, though, Dave.
Whoa, boy, he sure did. But I tell you what, remember, it's going to be lumberjacks around the ring next time. He won't be able to run. Look, here he comes. They're coming back.
You got the barroom brawlers, Tom Pritchard and Eric Embry. You got Fuller and Jarrett and Jerry Lawler. Jeff Jarrett wheeling that chair. Look at this in the ring.
Look in the ring. It's Lawler, Embry. It's like they're fighting with swords. Jarrett got behind him and knocked the chair out of his hand. And
there they go again.
Oh, boy. I don't know how much more of this we can take. Lawler, Jarrett, Fuller standing there, chairs in hand.
Take a look at this studio, Dave, and you can tell what has happened.
What a mess.
It's a war zone.
Embry has left now, and I don't know. Can we bolt that door or something to keep him out of here? Oh. We don't want him back, Jerry. Let's take a break, try to settle everything down. We'll be back. Stay with us.
The year 1992. TV5 Wrestling, Memphis, Tennessee.
Well, boy, I tell you, exciting and scary all at the same time when that stuff is flying around here. And oh, come on, get out of here.
Comes the barroom brawlers back in. Here comes superstar Bill Dundee and Danny Davis. We're going to see if we can get a second fall underway. Brawlers going to work with those chairs again.
We're supposed to have a second fall, but here come the brawlers, and they've got their folding metal chairs. They come in here. Dundee and Danny Davis show up for the second fall. Here comes help.
There's Robert Fuller and Jeff Jarrett. Robert's got a chair. Now Jeff grabs one, going after the other brawler in the ring. The ring littered with debris from the brawl. You talk about brawl. Here comes Pritchard. Here comes Embry. Everybody in the ring, Dave. It's broken out all over again.
Classic brawl.
This crowd is
Pat Trammell.
Absolutely.
Standing and yelling. My goodness. Whoa, look out. Embry is going after Jeff Jarrett with that chair.
Caught him in the rib cage and now pounding on Jeff. Robert Fuller now has got, looks like some kind of dust shovel.
Yeah, dustpan. Oh, my goodness. Here comes another chair into the ring.
That's a wicker chair. Lawler going after Eric Embry. Here they go onto the floor. Lawler chasing Embry. They go out behind the curtain. The barroom brawlers and Pritchard. Here's Lawler again. Trash cans being tossed. Chairs being tossed.
anything like this one. Never. Can you imagine a world title match with the Brawlers bringing chairs and with Jeff and Robert bringing chairs to protect themselves? I don't see how they're going to avoid it. Robert and Jeff are going to have to show up with chairs because the Brawlers have served notice that they have no, they don't care. They don't mind bringing the chairs with them. So the match that's coming up, the world title's on the line. Chairs could be flying, and not to mention Lawler and Embry with the lumberjacks all around. Lawler sitting down. That chair kind of looks like a throne. As Lawler is sitting there inviting Embry out, I don't think they're coming back. I tell you what, we got to do some commercials here and calm down. Back in a moment.
I wasn't there, Michael. Michael's asking who were the Brawlers. I wasn't there at that point. I have no idea.
I'd like to.
I'm trying to remember, and
Well, there's what's left.
escapes me.
Garbage cans, chairs, litter.
I don't think Kuwait looked like this.
You back, Michael?
I tell you.
I'm
What
back.
a day we have had here today. Brawls all over the place.
That's
The
a
Barroom
great
Brawlers,
camera shot
properly
there, the
named. They
chaos.
came in, they brought folding metal chairs with them. Robert Fuller and Jeff Jarrett had showed it in an earlier match. They could wield a chair. They found some. They came in here. That got it going. Embry and Lawler looking for
Jeff
each other.
Sword and Doug Vian's last run together.
A mud match, too.
Jeff
All
stops
coming up
wrestling soon
Monday night at
due
the
to a
50
back
building.
injury.
Just a little sample.
According to
You know
both.
they're going to want to continue it because we had to haul them out of here virtually just a few moments
Nothing
ago.
got settled. Nothing got settled.
8 o'clock is when it'll all start. Monday night at the Pipkin Building. You make your plans to pick up your tickets in advance. Box office opens beginning at 10 o'clock. More next week. Until then, for Michael St. John, I'm Dave Brown. So long, everybody.
I always love the opportunity to close a show like that because you just went through the most horrendous craziness of all time, and then you sort of bring it back together. And Dave was awesome about doing that. So was Lance. I mean, Lance was the master. But I remember that was a wild day. I wonder now, as you look back, what television stations in America would even allow that kind of craziness in this day and time with the proliferation of lawsuits if you get a hangnail.
You couldn't do it. I mean, yeah, you could. I don't think there's a TV station in America, certainly in Memphis, Tennessee, that would allow studio. You know, have you driven by Channel 5 lately? I mean, it's like Fort Knox. There's fencing all around that thing, and probably a lot of the TV stations there in your area too, Michael. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. The security, because there are so many incidents of people, crazy people just going in and taking over. But you think about that, and all that chaos in it. You got the crowd on, two sides of that ring, and when they cornered Lawler and they got 4-on-1 or 3-on-1 on Lawler in that corner, he's in a corner amongst people. And they're throwing stuff at him. I mean, it's like today, like I say, you get a hangnail and you got a lawsuit.
I said we weren't going to talk any current wrestling, but I think we have to, seeing that, to give an example. The example of Steve Austin's entrance yesterday, he wiped out the whole front row. Bill Dundee did that in the 80s. He came out. All it took with Bill is to give him a complimentary ticket for the next week. Bill signed him an autograph. Now, I bet that lady that got hit last night, no telling how much they're going to settle for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And didn't they have a situation outside the arena after the matches where a golf cart hit somebody also?
I saw that too.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So,
can I make one point, Randy?
Yeah.
People talk about ECW. What year was that? 1992? ECW learned a lot.
1991.
ECW learned a lot from what was happening in Memphis on TV.
Well, I think Paul said that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It is crazy. So, Several months they were at the Pipkin building. They're going back to the Mid-South Coliseum. Our next video, 5 minutes, 27 seconds. This is just Lawler doing an interview, and Pat had a question.
Yeah, is the Pipkin building still there?
I think so, but I couldn't swear to it.
Where is it? If I'm on Union looking at the Mid-South, where is it?
Well, if you're at the fairgrounds, it's between the Liberty Bowl and the Coliseum.
Okay.
Does that point out?
It was an exhibition hall.
Yeah. Okay. How many did it seat?
You know, that's when I was mad at your buddy Jerry Jarrett, and I wasn't around. I would say what, Michael, a couple of thousand?
Yeah, I was going to say 1,500. I was going to
Okay.
say 1,500, but again, the majority of that was on the floor. You know, there was a ton of floor seats in that area because again, it was an exhibition hall.
We appreciate our buddy Nicholas, City by the Bay in the West Coast, says he loves the panel, and we love you too. Wrestling back at the Mid-South Coliseum. This is an interview with Jerry Lawler, and they look over the card. This is 5 minutes and 27 seconds.
You're fixing to run down the Memphis card again. I didn't get a chance to say how excited I am to be back at the Mid-South Coliseum. First of all, I want to say, we want to thank the people of the Memphis Park Commission because they were great over at the Pipkin Building, worked with the wrestling organization. Super, Bob Brame and Bill Wilson, all those people were great. But we are really looking forward to being back at the Coliseum, and I think the fans are excited about being back there too,
I'm excited about being there. I'm going to be there Monday night. I can't wait to get back to the Mid-South Coliseum. It's one of those situations where, like I say, it was very good at the Pipkin Building. The folks were nice. We just needed more space. We were just bringing so many people in that we needed more space. The Coliseum is going to be set up for that. Also, there's a new security arrangement for the parking lot, so parking will be secure. The parking lot will be patrolled throughout the
Michael,
matches.
question for you from City by the Bay.
Situation for the fans coming up, and what a card, too.
It is going to be a great card.
Absolutely. Otani 1, De La Cruz 2, Aaron Judge 3.
Yeah, let's talk. You and I talk about the card, and then we'll talk about a couple of things you got coming up.
By the way,
All
the
right,
City by the Bay, they've got new City Connect jerseys that Joshua is going crazy about. I've ordered them. They're
going
amazing.
against Heartbreaker Randy Harris in the opening match.
Now, this is the card returning to the Mid-South Coliseum. Opening match with Brian Christopher.
That's a bit unusual, but when a belt
We have some video of Dundee and Davis coming up.
These two guys had a match a couple of weeks ago.
hell of a
It was
match.
just really outstanding, and Danny Davis just pushes Bill Dundee to the limit. It's a really good match, really is.
And then one coming up that I know you're not going to be too thrilled to hear about, Austin Kong going against Sampson, and I did not know for sure earlier, and we said we'd get it checked out, and I do have confirmation. This is going to be a world heavyweight title match, so I know you'll be watching this one closely.
Well, I will be because I just happened to see Sampson in the back there. My first look at him, and this guy's a pretty big specimen himself, so I may have to be wrestling him instead of Austin Kong for the belt.
That's right. And then coming up, the first of two single matches. It's lose or leave town, no time limit, no disqualification. Robert Fuller will be going against brawler number 2. And then in a match, separate match, Jeff Jarrett will be going against brawler number 1. In each of those matches, it's lose or leave town, no time limit, no disqualification. The Brawlers say they are just very confident. They weren't upset or anything. They say, hey, we checked the record. These guys can't wrestle as singles. We can beat them. They're going to be out of here. Well, as I said, they didn't go back far enough in the record books, I don't think. Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller will be looking to run the Brawlers out of town one at a time. Could be a situation, of course, where, Jeff could win or lose. Robert could win or lose. You could split up teams that way, too. That's the situation that comes up Monday night at the Coliseum. Back Alley Street Brawl will follow that. It continues until one team loses their clothes. A dirty white boy and a dirty white girl going against Dr. Tom Pritchard and Miss Texas. This main event tonight, Hair versus the Mask. King must be a winner in this one. It's going to be you going against Leatherface. You talked about it a little earlier. Hair on the line. You don't like those matches. You've never lost your hair, but you want to unmask this Leatherface.
Dave, I beg to differ with you. I have lost my hair. Remember, if you remember, Austin Idol and Tommy Rich had the match with Austin Idol.
Oh, by golly, you're right.
Tommy Rich was under the ring, hid under the ring, and I wound up getting my head shaved. And believe me, that's why I
I'm
said
asking
at
who
that time, I
booked
swore
this.
I'd never be involved in another one of
I'm
these.
thinking
Because
it's a
it is
combination
absolutely
of
the worst
Jeff,
feeling.
Jerry,
Other
and
than
Law.
I broke my leg and was out for almost a year, that's the worst thing that's ever happened to me in the wrestling business. It is
Jerry Jarrett won the book Leatherface.
humiliating, and it takes forever before you feel like a human being.
Lawler loves
And I don't want to go
monsters.
through that
Yeah.
no matter what. So we're going to do our best to find out exactly what Leatherface looks like Monday night rather than getting my head shaved.
Well, that's right. You know, I had forgotten about that. I remember other things that happened in that match, but that's right. So that's the situation. Must be a winner in this one Monday night, and that's not all. A Southern heavyweight title will be on the line. Hair versus hair, must be a winner in this one.
Don't ask me who Cousin Harold is. I don't have no clue. Do you, Michael? Do you remember?
That was a cup of coffee also. I don't remember him either.
Mid-South Coliseum, Monday night. Box office.
Now, for a return of wrestling to the Mid-South Coliseum, they call it Homecoming 91.
To the Mid-South Coliseum. King, you've got a couple of things you want to talk about.
That card is underwhelming to me.
Next Saturday down in Greenville,
Big
Mississippi.
time.
We have a lot of great
Would you
wrestling
agree?
in Mississippi.
Weak.
Greenville's kind of far away, but I'm going to be down there at Take Two Video Stores next Saturday afternoon in
I
Greenville,
don't-
Mississippi. See everybody down there. Also next Sunday, of course, Lawler's
Go ahead,
Army
Mike.
goes out and
Go
we
ahead, Pat.
do a lot of these benefits.
Well, I didn't want to
We have a
interrupt
big
King,
doubleheader
but I
coming
mean,
up
I'm
in
not
Somerville, Tennessee,
I'm not a
next Sunday
wrestling
afternoon at
expert,
the
although
North
I
Campus Field at
am
1:30
on
up there to
TV
benefit the Phyllis
for
Williams
5
Fund,
years.
everybody up in
Half of those guys I've never heard of.
And also, this
Who is
afternoon,
Lawler
just
wrestling?
about an hour from now,
I don't, there's several leather faces, some oxygen throughout the years. At one point it was Duke Myers. I don't think it was Duke Myers there. Ain't no doubt. I wasn't there
I'm
then.
going to be out there.
I wasn't going to be a part of that shit.
At 1 o'clock from 1 until 3.
Awesome Kong, isn't there a
3400
pro
Summer
wrestler
National,
now
Russian
named
Furniture
Awesome
Store.
Kong?
So come on by
That had a run in
for everybody,
TNA, but
sign
it's
an
a
autograph,
different
maybe a free
person.
ticket
No,
or two, I
certainly
don't know, for
different
Monday night.
person.
So come on by. That's this afternoon from 1 until 3 at Russia's Furniture Store at Summer National.
Okay.
Lawler's selling his ass
We're
off
gonna-
right here.
You're going to be there. I want you to bring the cameras because we're going to let everybody see what Leatherface looks like.
I'll be there. Monday night, 8 o'clock at the Mid-South Coliseum. Don't forget the box office will be open at 10 o'clock for advance ticket sales.
And we are not over on this show right now. Did you ever go to the Pipkin, Michael?
I did go one time to the Pipkin. I think it was the first night that we ran, and it was a Saturday night, I believe. I think they did a show on a Saturday. I think it was the Pipkin, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the Pipkin because I remember it being an exhibit hall. It reminded me of the women's building in Nashville where Nick ran when I first started with it.
We're going to look at back at the Mid-South Coliseum. It's 5 minutes, 27 seconds. We just did that right then. I'm sorry. We're going to go with Danny and Dundee. They referred to it in that video. This video we're going to take a look at now is 9 minutes, 44 seconds. Then we'll have more from that thing. They had a good program going on, and we'll see that 9 minute 44 Danny Davis,
With Bill
Bill
Dundee here
Dundee.
today, but I wanted to give you a chance to say a word or two before you get into the action.
You know, Dave, it's always a pleasure to come out here and talk to you and all the fine fans. And before Bill and I get into our tag match, I'd like to talk about this week's upcoming title defense because, you know, for the past several months, this belt has meant a lot to me. It's meant a lot to the fans because I've been a people's champion. Every time I step into the ring, I always try to do the right thing. I always tell the little nightmare fans,
I don't know what happened there.
I think our video
say
froze.
no to drugs, don't smoke, don't drink. Always
There
do
it's
what
back.
your parents ask you and do the right thing. So, you know, as a champion, you have to accept your challenges from near and far. Now, if a champion could pick his own opponent, that would be easy. I would have nothing but easy wrestling matches. But, you know, that's just not the way it is. The promotion has seen fit to book my good friend, my traveling companion, superstar Bill Dundee, in a match against me for this title. And one thing I like about this is it's going to be a scientific match. It's going to be a wrestling match. If the fans come to see a fight, well, you're not going to see a fight because Bill and I are friends. We've been friends for a number of years. And I know that when I step into that ring, I'm not going to have to worry about Bill using a fist on me. I'm not going to worry about Bill having to pull my hair, you know, like you do with other opponents. That's one thing I respect about Bill Dundee is that he, in his own right, he is a fantastic fan, a good
Danny.
and a good friend.
Hey, brother, let's not sugarcoat this thing no more, man.
What?
Yeah, come on. I don't know if you're trying to zoom me or the people here. We're talking about a belt, the light heavyweight championship of the world,
Yeah.
and you got it. And I'd like to have it. So, brother, Dan,
Come on, no. I know you want this belt, and I know that all the years that you've wrestled in this area, you've held every major championship that this promotion has to offer except one. The one that you have not held is this title. Now, okay, the promotion saw fit to put us in a match together, but we're friends.
Yeah?
We are friends.
Well, let me ask you this. This may take a day or two to sink after this week. I hope we're friends 3 or 4 days after this match takes place. Just think about that for a little while. Now, just listen to me, Dan. Short of throwing fire at you, short of bringing powder into the ring, or hitting you with a chain, I'm not going to do none of them things, and I don't think you are either.
No.
But, brother, you're going to do everything in your power to hang on to this, and I'm going to do everything in my power to take it.
Did you have to do that?
We're pals, Daddy!
Yeah, that's right. We are pals, but you don't have to do that. Yeah, you're right. I'm not going to throw fire at you. I'm not going to pull your hair. I'm not going to pull a chain out. I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to wrestle you just like friends would wrestle. I'm not going to go out, and I'm not going to take advantage of anything.
Yeah,
that's just the way I am.
No. You're not zooming me down. We are pals, and like I said, 3 or 4 days after this is all over and it's sunk in what's happened in the end of it, see we're still friends.
So what you're saying is you're going to do everything possible to take this belt away from me.
Yeah, and you're going to do everything you know to keep it. Come on, brother. You didn't get it at no Sunday school picnic.
No, I didn't get it at no Sunday school picnic, but the only reason I wear this belt is because these good people out here put their faith and support in me, and I've always been a people's champion. And I'm going to tell you something.
What a segment.
Since you want to come out here and to tell the truth,
This is good Dundee, man.
well, maybe you're right. Maybe I will.
And Danny's right there with him.
Yeah, he is.
The title means a lot to me, and it means a lot to these fans. So I'll tell you what, since you want to tell the truth, Bill Dundee, you get on my nerves a little bit. You know why? No, you know why? Because for the past several months, you and me have been traveling up down the highways, and every time we step into a local restaurant, here comes Bill Dundee. Hey, y'all, Bill Dundee's here, Bill Dundee's here. Well, I'm not quite as boisterous as you. I don't like to go into a restaurant and make a butt out of myself. And there's another thing. There is another thing that you do that I don't like. Every time that you step in the ring with any opponent, it doesn't matter if the opponent is experienced. It doesn't matter if you've got a green wrestler up there that you take advantage of. Every time that wrestler trips and falls down, you know what you do? You stand up in the ring and go, woo! To me, that embarrasses me because I am a wrestler. I'm not up there to show my tail.
Well, I'll tell you something, brother. I'll tell you what bothers you when we go to a restaurant. You haven't got that stupid star painted on your face, and everybody says, hey, Bill Dundee, who's your buddy? And I got to tell him it's Danny Davis, and he's another thing.
No,
you don't have to wait till this week, brother. Let's just bring this belt, this thing, and haul it up in here. We wrestle right now.
Hey, you're exactly right. We don't have to wait till this week. We can do it right now.
Hey, come on. You guys are partners here today, for heaven's sakes. Danny Davis and Bill Dundee going after each other. Out here talking about the
this
match
is
they
good
got
stuff.
coming up in which they're against each other for belt. Eddie,
I like this. Let him go.
Eddie's the USWA is going to sanction the match here. It's Danny Davis, the Nightmare, against Bill Dundee.
Look at him work.
Guys were going to be going against
this is a wrestling match, people.
Tag team action today. Now, all of a sudden, here's referee Paul Neighbors. That makes it official. Let me ring the bell again just to make it official. And the match is underway. The superstar Bill Dundee against the man who was his partner up until 3 minutes ago, Danny Davis. Dundee with Danny down on the mat. He's got the left arm pulled up behind his back. Couple of rugged competitors here. I think that's the problem. I think they're both so competitive, and I think Dundee, he pointed out correctly that, you're going to do everything you can to win. I'm going to do everything I can to win.
When's the last time you saw a standing hip toss?
Oh, my goodness.
Tell you what,
this is just
some
sensational.
kind of match. We've got it for you right here. Danny Davis, the Nightmare, the superstar, Bill Dundee. Davis with Dundee in the head scissors right now. He's got those feet wrapped around his neck. Danny Davis with the advantage at the moment. Dundee trying to figure a way out of it. He is out of it. The way he did, he just finally was able to work around and slip out of the hole. It's tough on your ears.
Michael, were you not there for this show?
And now ends up with the advantage.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said, were you not there for this show?
I don't think I was. What date was this show?
Davis trying to figure a way out of this as he bridges up to try
You
to
know,
get out.
I did not write that down. I'm not sure.
For some reason, I was not there.
But it was 1991.
91. Well, this may have been when I was off for my kidney surgery. Because I was off for about 6 weeks when I had my kidney surgery.
Pound for pound, maybe the two toughest competitors in professional wrestling. Davis trying to turn him around into a Boston Crab. Not able to do it yet. Well, he's got it right now. Can he make it?
When's the last time on television have you seen a match like this?
I was just thinking 1968.
1991 probably. No, probably. 97, 98 probably. God, I love it. This is just incredible. And by the way,
great counter moves.
It's called the Boston Crab, not the sharpshooter.
Both of them,
yeah, correct.
They are going to be the winners of this match. This match was not even scheduled today. Got into a disagreement. They're in there. The promotion says, book it. Let them go. Put a referee in there. That's where we are right now.
Notice too, it's been a babyface match, and this will turn around.
Look at that reversal by Danny Davis. Oh, he caught him with a right hand there. Yeah, I think Danny may have slipped there and popped him with a right fist. He said it was going to be fair and square. Maybe that's gone by the wayside. Look at this. Davis presses him, jumps out of the ring down here on the floor. Referee Paul Neighbors out. He's tolling the count. Both of them down here battling on the floor. There's a forearm from Danny Davis, a boot from Bill Dundee, and Dundee answers with that right hand. Oh, my goodness. Danny Davis run into the ring post. The two of them battling out here on the floor. Davis against Dundee. Now they're back on the ring apron. Danny Davis, Bill Dundee back into the ring as these two continue to go at each other.
Cox is remembering the match in Jackson, Tennessee, where Dundee went against Tony Charles, and that was this sort of match as well. And I was in Jackson that night, and it was a fantastic match.
Danny Davis yelling. Is he going to give it up? No, he doesn't. He pounded Dundee. Got him right above the eyes. Time, I tell you what, we are in a time bind here. We've got some commercials we're going to have to get in. If we could, let's keep the videotape rolling. We'll take this commercial break, and we'll let you know what happens when we return.
We've been talking about.
We are going to hold our comments to that. Our final video of the day is more from Dundee and Danny. This one is just 3:23. That really didn't get us a climax of the story. Hopefully this will.
This is his scheduled interview. Now, he was here a little bit earlier with a very short
This
interview.
must have been the week.
Shook hands.
Didn't say a lot either.
Didn't say a lot. Billy, I don't know. You were out here and you didn't stay long last time. This time I'd just like to talk about the situation.
Well, I would too, and this is what the situation is. A couple of weeks ago, I beat Danny Davis for that belt, and he comes out and he says, well, you sucker punched me. Some people say I did. Some people say I didn't. Now, professional wrestling, Jerry Lawler has knocked me out more times than anybody, and I never ever said he sucker punched me. I was trying to do the same thing to him, and I told you up front, Danny, I was going to punch your lights out if I could, and I did. Then last week, I got to take my hat off to you, brother. I got to take my hat off to you because wrestling is physical chess. I made a mistake, and you capitalized. I had you down. The referee counted 1, 2. You patted me on the back. I thought that's what he was doing, and I won the match. I stood up, and you small packaged me back. That's fine, brother. That's exactly what wrestling's all about. You beat me. Well, I think there's a little controversy in that. I think you cheated because when I turned my back on you, that's how you beat me. So this week, let's do this. Let's not have no pinfall. Let's just have a submission hold, a sleeper hold, or we knock one another out, whatever the case may be. We don't have no pinfalls, brother. We just, whatever you want to call it, we just make you submit, because that's what I'm putting on you.
In other words, the way you want to do it, no counting 1, 2, 3.
Did I hear you right? Did I hear you right? You said you didn't want any pinfalls. You want submission holds, a sleeper hold, or knock me out? Friend, you still want to punch me, don't you? No, you still want to punch me. Hang on a minute. I thought we were friends. Well, we're going to. I just want no controversy. I don't want you to say I did punch you. Well, no, you did. You did sucker punch me, and you know it. There is no controversy. I'll tell you something, Bill Dundee. I know you're a tough man.
Michael, there you are.
And so are you, brother. That's right, I am tough. But let me tell you something. I don't think you're tough enough to make me submit. I do
Can you
not
imagine that look like this now?
make me submit.
I think both camera shots are good. A couple of stiffs. Oh, look at this.
Now, wait. Wait. I'm going to tell you. Well, no, you ain't telling me nothing. Come on. That's exactly what's going on. Wait a minute. Both of you beat both of you.
They do a great job here.
Now, if you want the match, I'll go check and see if we can get it signed that way. But we're not going to keep doing it.
Me submit.
Danny.
You ain't seen it. You ain't seen your friend.
Now, hold it down, both of you. Let me tell you. You want the match? I'll go call and see if we can get it signed where it's no pins. No controversy there. It's just like the wrestler that can't answer the bell will be the loser. Okay, well, now both of you.
You're not going to get a chance.
Both of you. All right. Thank you, Danny. Thank you for not.
That's how I want you. Good and mad. And you got it right, Dave. Just get it signed. A pinfall, a submission, and we knock that sucker out.
We'll check it. We'll go check and see if we can get it all squared away. Boy, these two. Tell you what.
I still have that tie, by the way.
Both videos ended before I was ready for them to end. We'll start with you, Pat. To me, I mean, on a school grade type of thing, that has to be A+.
Oh, I mean, it's great. And one thing I wanted to say earlier on, Michael, you and Dave work outstandingly together. That match before, that was great work. But on this, you see that I've seen that angle a time or two. I've never seen it done as well as Danny and Dundee, and I'm gonna give Danny a whole lot of credit for that.
Michael, your comments on that.
First of all, thank you, Pat, and I got to give credit to Dave Brown because Dave Brown made it easy. It's just when you're working with those kind of pros, him or Lance, either one, you're in great hands. Bo James made the comment that both stayed babyface for the entire program, which they did. But that is something that I think sometime we need to look further into the creative side of the whole Jerry Jarrett, Jerry Lawler mixture of booking, because they always came up with something that you weren't expecting or that you haven't seen before. Or if you have seen it before, you were so young you don't remember it. And that's sort of what this was. This sort of came out of left field. Nobody was expecting it. And it turned into a great exhibition of wrestling, but even better, it turned into a great feud, if you would, a great program, short term, but a great program. And I think that's part of the genius of Memphis wrestling that we don't necessarily give enough kudos to.
All right. Man, it's good to be back talking and watching Memphis wrestling. We will have a couple of more videos next week to finish up 91, and I'll tell you exactly what it will be. We will hear from Reggie B. Fine saying, "Shut up, you bunch of low budgets." We will have that classic video or classic interview. We'll see Jerry Lawler shoot on the wrestling industry, and I'm interested to see what that is. We also have a 1991 promo, Terry Funk, and also have a 10-minute video, Eddie Gilbert Goes Nuts. And we'll finish up 91 and we'll start 92. Final comments, final words, final thoughts on today's program as we're back to talk to Memphis Wrestling, Pat.
This has been one of my favorite shows we've done in a long time. I've appreciated going back and seeing some of the old heel, the old baby faces from the '60s and early '70s, and these angles to see Michael and Dave work together so well, and these angles you've shown us just been outstanding.
Absolutely, and it's great the original threesome is back together. Randy, Pat, and Michael. It's been great, and I can tell by the smile on your face you were thrilled to death, Michael St. John, with this program today.
You know, Randy, it says on the marquee, Talking Memphis Wrestling, and that's exactly what we did tonight, and I love it. We returned to the roots, if you would. I unfortunately was not here last week, and I want to send my condolences to Coach. I know in the loss of his mom, I know it's belated. I wasn't able to talk to him, but I was able to text with him and communicate with him that way. But we miss Coach, and it's always hard when we've unfortunately all lost our moms, and that's one of the most difficult things that happens in life. But my thoughts are to him. But Randy, thank you for allowing me, and Pat. Love it when we all get together and we're on the same page. And those pictures, man, I keep going back to that. Folks, send Randy your pictures, and we need to do more of that.
Absolutely.
RandyBittenhales@gmail.com. And by the way, I want to throw this. Chris Ellis was planning. He's back home, and he's doing well. They had a impromptu school at the school that he's the assistant superintendent of. They had a called special board meeting tonight, and that's obviously how he makes his living, and obviously that has priority over him having fun doing this show, Michael.
Well, absolutely. But I want to thank you guys. I missed you guys last week. I must say I had a good time and missed you guys. I will be with you the next until further notice. I think there is a Tuesday night event that we have coming up in late May, early June. But other than that, I'm looking forward to it. Back on the road, talking Memphis wrestling. That's what it says on the mark.
Bo says, RH, did you and Michael ever call anything together? Not that I remember, but I couldn't swear to it.
There was one event, I think, Randy, that you came in and sat in, not for the whole show, but you sat in on a match or two, and I think it involved, and it may have been a situation where Lance got called off the stage or off the set or Dave, but I remember there was one time I think you and I did do a couple of matches together.
All right, that answers that question. This has been a lot of fun. It's time to go to bed, everybody. Team Hales, you were Miguel, BC, Bo, add to the show. Bo, we got to get you back here as a guest right here on the show, and we'll continue. We'll start in 91, start 92, and until then, for Adam Dunn, Pat Trammell, Michael St. John, and the missing in action Chris Ellis, I'm Randy Hill saying bye-bye, everybody.
Good night, y'all.
You'll see America's favorite sport on WHBQ television.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hill and special guests.